Hey, what's up everybody? We're going to do an LG V10 unboxing and overview, and this is Corey from My 2 Cents. Let's go ahead and jump right in and get this box undone. So you can see it has a nice V10 logo here. This is the T-Mobile version of the V10. You can see some of the information on the back, the Qualcomm Snapdragon, and the frequency at which it supports. We'll talk a little bit more about all the options this phone has, but let's go ahead and crack this thing open and get started on what this phone has inside of it. Now the box actually tricked me here for a second. It actually opens like a book, which is a little bit different than a lot of the boxes out there. So we'll just go ahead and open this and start reading from left to right here. So you can see on this side we can fold it open for another hinge, and that really reveals all of the components on the interior. We have our wall charger, which is pretty standard USB-A. We have our cable here at the bottom, USB-A to micro USB. Well, nothing too fancy on the charging of the device. No USB-C, which would have been kind of cool to see. And we have our battery here as well. So it does have a removable battery, which is becoming a little bit more rare in the cell phone game, so that's kind of cool to see. And then on the right hand side we have our phone. Nothing under that little flap. Let's pull this up and take this phone out of the packaging here. Underneath it we have another additional box. Let's see what's inside of this package here. We'll go ahead and grab an opening tool and get this sliced open here. It's got a little sticker on there that's holding it shut. And if you've never used a cell phone, then this might actually be important. You should definitely thoroughly read through these manuals on how to use your cell phone. So the majority of people, let's just go ahead and toss that aside. We have our SIM card here as well for T-Mobile, and it's the 3-in-1 SIM card. So depending upon your device, you can use this to give you a larger or smaller SIM card. Let's go ahead and open the battery up and toss it in the back of this device. So plastic backing on this. It's got a little bit of a textured feeling to it. We'll talk about that in just a little bit more detail. Pop the battery out and just slide it on in. I haven't done this in a phone for quite some while, so it's kind of nice to see that removable battery on a phone like this. Go ahead and snap it down the back side and take the front packaging off here. Ooh, so we're going to go ahead and get this phone set up, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about the phone itself. So you can see here, it's got nice solid stainless sides on it, which gives it a little bit more premium feeling. The textured back with the V10 logo on it, which is a nice little touch on the backing as well. You can see up here at the top we have our volume down and our volume up button, and then our fingerprint sensor and the power button. We have our flash, our camera, which is a little bit raised across the back of the device. Then right above the camera, we also have our laser autofocus here as well. So still nice solid railing down this side of the phone as well. And on the bottom we have a downward facing speaker, our microphones here as well. We have our micro USB and our 3.5mm headphone jack. We have a nice solid rail on this side, and across the top we have a microphone and then also an IR blaster as well, which is pretty cool. Now the phone itself, it feels pretty nice in the hands. The nice stainless steel wheels make it feel nice and premium. It has dual front-facing selfie cameras, so you can get wider selfie shots in it as well. One thing that's pretty nice about this is that it has the two screens on the front of the phone, one for the notifications and one for the actual LCD itself, and you can't tell the difference between them. You can't see where one stops and one starts. Good nice LG logo down here at the bottom as well, which is just a branding portion, doesn't have any actual purpose. The back is actually nice. It's really grippy, rubbery. It's got a nice texture to it as well. The fingerprint sensor, it feels a little wiggly, to be honest with you, underneath. It's kind of like the Nexus style where it's on the back and you can touch it to open it up with a forefinger. There's been some issues with putting cases on these, but to do that and have your fingerprint sensor still work, all you would need to do is reset the fingerprint with it in the case. So let's talk a little bit about the internal spec. A 5.7-inch IPS LCD that's 515 pixels per inch, so 1440 by 2560. Nice Gorilla Glass 4 on the front as well. Has a Snapdragon 808 processor with 4 gigs of RAM. That's a lot of RAM. It also will allow you to expand the storage with a micro SD card slot, so that's pretty awesome. So you can pump it up to 200 gigs total. Dual front-facing 5-megapixel selfie cameras to give you wide-angled selfies, so you can get a lot in the shot. On the back side of the phone, you have the volume up power button here as well, but you have the 16-megapixel rear camera. It does have optical image stabilization, shoots in 4K, and basically all the standard manual things that you would want out of DSLR. So that's a pretty cool feature for this phone. It also has a 3000 milliamp battery, which is nice and big. It does also have NFC, so really almost anything you want with the exception of wireless charging, but it's supposed to have a special bag for that in the near future. So you can choose from a few different camera options here. You got auto, and then you have your manual control for the camera. So you can basically choose things like your ISO, your shutter speed. So manual controls on this are pretty fantastic, and it takes really nice pictures for this particular phone. I was pretty impressed with the camera. I don't think it necessarily holds up to some of the competition, let's say like the Note 5 for example, but it takes really, in my mind, great pictures. So if you're into a little bit of photography, this might be a good choice for you when it comes to all these manual controls you'd have in the phone. Quick switching on the side, so back to auto, back to simple. All those controls are gone. You can just take a quick shot just right off the bat. Another big feature for this phone is that second screen up top. And really, this acts as its own little display. You can change around some of the features. So once you hit the camera, you can see that the icons change to the camera controls. If you choose something like the settings, you can go in and change some of the stuff about the actual screen itself. So if you want it to display, you don't want it to display when you want it to display, which is kind of a cool little feature. I didn't find myself using it a ton, but it was kind of handy. It's kind of gimmicky, to be honest with you, but I think that it could have real potential with third-party applications if somebody puts a little bit of effort into creating something specific to this phone. But that's going to be specific to this particular phone. But all in all, I thought that was pretty cool. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens with this in the future. Now, one thing that you can do is change the signature around, so it doesn't have to say V10. You can change it to really say whatever you would like it to up here at the top. And you have a different amount of handwriting or fonts you can put this into as well. So if you're not a fan of the fancy V10, you can change it to whatever you'd like. Now, this is a great phablet phone, especially if you love the LG G4. This might be a good option for you. Anyways, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Peace.